The palace of Amareth glinted like an opal beneath the violet sun, a jewel carved from stardust and pride. Its crystalline towers soared with alien elegance, fluted with silver spines and draped in electric banners that pulsed with the rhythm of 1,000 heartbeats. Within those hallowed halls, the air shimmered under a cloak of tension. Every soldier, servant, and dignitary sensed it, the weight of betrayal, the sting of humiliation. Because just last night, the Queen of Amareth, unbreakable, unbowed, had nearly been destroyed. Her latticework armor, crafted from alloys mined at the edge of black holes and sanctified under cosmic storms, had failed her. A hairline fracture, invisible to her council and deadly in its precision, had been exploited in battle. The Queen had returned to her throne shaken, cloaked not in triumph, but in mistrust. And now, summoned by her fury, her court trembled. For someone had dared to repair what was beyond repair. Someone had touched the hollow that had almost become her tomb, and made it whole. "Who fixed my armor?" the Queen's voice thundered across the palace. Her 4 eyes glowed with violent dawnlight. Her attendants froze. Silence reigned. Until a single voice broke it. "I did," said the human. And the halls of Amareth held their breath. Ethan Marshall stood alone in the throne room, the weight of 100 alien gazes bearing down on him. His hands were stained with iridescent oils, the remnants of his clandestine work. A humble tinker by trade, he'd been taken as a mechanical curiosity by this empire, an envoy from Earth, yes, but little more than a mild amusement to the royal engineers. Until now. Queen Virilyn of Amareth, a being of silver sinew and glowing inner light, stared down at him from her hovering throne, the repaired suit of armor suspended before her. Its dark panels hummed with restored power. The wound, once a jagged, lethal chasm, had been healed so seamlessly that even her personal artificers couldn't detect where it had been. "You fixed this?" she asked, her tone transitioning from rage to wonder. Ethan's jaw tightened. "I couldn't stand to see good work go to waste," he said. "And it deserves better than to die because someone missed the fracture." The court murmured. Ethan stood still as stone. The Queen rose, her enormous height rivaling 3 men. She stepped down toward him. "You are bold," she murmured. "You took it upon yourself to touch my regalia, my sacred armor." Ethan swallowed, but did not bow. "Where I come from, if something is broken, we fix it. It's not a matter of hierarchy. It's a matter of honor." There was silence. Then, abruptly, she laughed. It was a sound like wind through mountains deep and ancient. "You meet anger with integrity," she said. Her 4 eyes studied him, one pair thoughtful, one pair predatory. "Tell me, Earthborn. What did you use?" "I used nanoforge filaments, restructured the alloy with a field coaxing technique, and I added something of my own." The Queen's eyes narrowed. "Of your own?" "A microchannel system," Ethan explained, nodding toward the armor. "Something I developed on Earth. Lets the suit absorb and disperse kinetic force more efficiently." The alien court gasped, their membranes fluttering. Such innovations were not taken lightly in Amareth. The Queen circled him slowly. "A human tinker improves the armor of a monarch," she said. As though it were just another project. He didn't respond. "Do you know what it means, Ethan Marshall, to interfere in matters of a throne?" "It wasn't about the throne," Ethan said quietly. "It was about survival." Virilyn regarded him, and for a brief moment, Ethan saw something in her eyes that looked almost like gratitude. "Almost." "Very well," she said. "Then let us test your theory." She stepped into the armor, allowing it to form snap around her body. The hum intensified. The Queen's eyes dimmed, then ignited like dying stars made new. "And now," she said, as the armor pulsed and locked, "you will accompany me. For if your repairs fail now, your heart will stop beating before you draw another breath." Ethan nodded. He hadn't expected anything less. The field outside the palace was vast, air rippled by heat, atmosphere teeming with drifting particles that glowed like embers. The Queen stood ready as 3 Cruxian soldiers charged her, an exercise she had failed last night. The attackers moved in warp speed, their blades crackling with folded energy. Ethan watched, breath caught in his throat. The first blow struck the armor full force, a lethal downward chop. This time, it didn't crack. It flared with a sheen of iridescence, redirecting the force and launching her attacker backward. A murmur rose among the onlookers. Virulent spun, delivering a crushing elbow strike to the second soldier, then redirected energy from her suit into a shockwave that sent the third tumbling. Her movements were seamless, more fluid than before, yet grounded, almost as if the armor were adjusting for her, not the other way around. She stopped, breath steaming in the cold dawn air, and turned. "Your repair," she said, "has changed more than structural integrity." Ethan met her gaze. "That channeling system, it responds to biomechanical electrical output. I didn't have time to tune the sensitivity. But it seems, it favors your resonance." The Queen stared at him. Slow, calculating. "Human," she said. "You have done more than tinker. You have augmented my armor into something beautiful." The court was silent. "And so," she continued, "you will no longer be caged in this palace as an oddity." Her voice rose across the valley. "Ethan Marshall. You will serve as royal mechanist to Amareth." Gasps. Ethan blinked. "I'm no court engineer." "No," Queen Virulent said, "you are something unfamiliar. Something disruptive. Your world's approach is different. And today, that saved me." She faced her warriors. Dismissed. Then, she looked back at Ethan. "Walk with me." What followed was not a victory march, but a quiet journey into the Queen's private garden, where trees grew upside down and waters sang with light. For a moment, the grandeur melted into something intimate, as though Amareth itself breathed a sigh of relief. "You risked much," she said as they walked. "Why?" Ethan hesitated. "Because last night I heard you." "Heard me?" "You came back from battle. Hurt. Angry. You slammed your armor down. I could feel how much it meant to you. I didn't understand the words, but I understood the emotion." Queen Virulent paused. "Vulnerability is a scent I despise," she said. "It invites predators." "In my world," Ethan said softly, "it invites community." She regarded him again, this time with softer eyes. "You confuse me, Earthborn." "I confuse myself often enough," Ethan said, smiling. The Queen didn't smile, but she didn't leave. "You may stay," she said finally. "But know this. You are under my protection only so long as you are under my scrutiny. You've earned a place to contribute. Now you must earn its permanence." "I understand." "Good." She turned. "Because tomorrow, the armor will face more than a test. And so will you." The warning came at dawn, a shiver in the atmospheric grid, a pulse of alarm through Amareth's defense network. The Scarlet Clade had arrived. Ethan didn't know much about alien geopolitics, but he could read battle-scarred intel when presented. The Queen's enemies were many, but none so relentless as the Clade. And today, they had come for blood. Queen Virulent was already armored when Ethan reached her war council. The suit hummed at a deeper frequency now, more passively aligned to her. It was as though the armor trusted her. "Human," she said as he stepped in. "Your modifications will be tested today beyond theory." "I know," Ethan said. She turned to the hologram, red storm clouds over Sealand Road, a narrow channel leading into Amareth's heartlands. The Clade's forces were advancing with heavy railguns. "Evacuation?" someone asked. "Denied," the Queen said. "We defend this corridor. Amareth has never retreated." A murmur. Eyes turned to her armor. Then to Ethan. He stood still. This was no repair job. This was war. As they moved toward the front, Ethan followed the Queen. Every sound, the crackle of combs, the wind slicing across alien steel, felt amplified. The tension wasn't only between soldiers and the enemy. It was between belief and doubt. Between tradition and change. "Do you trust your work?" she asked him quietly. "With everything I have," Ethan said. That is not the same as trusting me, she said. Ethan met her gaze. I trust what's born from adversity. Armor. Humans. Queens. She turned away, but he saw the flicker of something like respect. The battle began before thoughts could settle. Sealand Road lit up with streaks of plasma, explosions carving into the ground. Queen Virulin stood at the head, her shield projecting a crescent wall of dual-field energy. When the first shot hit, her armor absorbed the impact, shuddering but holding. Then dissipating. The venting channels activated, dispersing superheated plasma into the air like fireflies. That's new, she muttered. So are you, Ethan said from behind cover. She launched forward, weapon sparked in her hand. The Clade forces tried to overwhelm a cascade of beams, drones, disruptor mines. She moved among them with terrifying grace, each blow she took only strengthening her hold on the battlefield. But war is chaos. And if humans had taught anything, it was that chaos evolves. A massive Clade bombardment gun, a Hellspine, took aim. Ethan saw it moments before it fired. Queen, he shouted. She turned. Too late. The blast hit her directly. Ethan felt his breath die. The Queen was hurled backward, armor sparking, systems screaming. For a heart-stopping moment, she lay motionless. Then, she rose. Through smoke. Through silence. She rose. The armor glowed a deep cerulean. Ethan felt something push through him, a pulse of quiet awe. Virulin lifted a hand, and the air crystallized. Then shattered. Her counterstrike wasn't brutal, it was precise. A focused sonic lattice wave that rippled out, collapsing the entire Clade spearhead. The Hellspine detonated. The remaining forces panicked and fled. Victory! But silence held first. The kind that isn't relief, but realization. She rose. Because the armor let her. Ethan ran to her. She was standing still, eyes closed. Armor dimming. Queen, he shouted. Are you? Her eyes opened. Alive, she said. Thanks to something, created outside our ways. We fixed what was broken, Ethan said. That's all. She touched the armor's chest plate. No. You changed what was possible. She looked at him, really looked. Ethan Marshal of Earth, she said, her voice no longer a roar, but something quieter. Outsiders do not often earn more than tolerance. But today, you altered the fate of Amareth. He swallowed. I just did what was needed. Yes, she said. But you also did what was right. The Queen placed a hand over her heart, then extended it to him, a gesture no alien had ever given to a human. Our ways are old. Our pride, older. But innovation thrives in chaos. She paused. And today, chaos was your ally. He nodded. And tomorrow? Tomorrow, she said, we build. The sky overhead was torn and luminous. War was not over, but something had shifted. A human stood in the Queen's shadow. Not as servant. Not as curiosity. But as equal. That night, the armor was suspended again, but not in outrage. The Queen gazed at it with quiet respect. Below, Ethan worked late, repairing, refining, learning. Amaretha's engineers stood beside him, not with suspicion, but with curiosity. He was no longer the tinker in chains. He was the architect of trust. And somewhere in the palace, the Queen considered a future where humans were not outsiders, but partners. Battle had proven it. Change was possible. And in the quiet halls of a palace carved from starlight, the echo of her question still hung in the air. Who fixed my armor? The answer no longer needed to be spoken, it had forged itself into destiny. The human.